Mr. Ambassador, it has been a rocky 100 days or so for Donald Trump and our most steadfast allies over the past 100 years, as the Australians have fought side by side with us in every single war over the past 100 years. How are things going now? How was the meeting? Has Donald Trump gotten the message that you all are one of our longest and most steadfast allies on the world stage?
Well, I think he's got a greater appreciation over the last 100 days of the role Australia's played with the United States in preserving the values that you guys consider important, like freedom and liberty and democracy. And yes, we are the only country that has been side by side with you for 100 years in every single major battle, but that's because we share values and we're going to continue to share values. And you know, as you know, Joe, I've spent 20 years in Australian politics. I'm pretty forgiving of people who, you know, go through transitions. And the president, you know, he has strong values. He was absolutely terrific last night. He was really impressive to us and sent a great message about his values to the Australian people.
Mr. Ambassador, it's obviously been an adjustment for your Prime Minister and your country working with Donald Trump versus President Obama or even President Bush before him. What's been the biggest challenge about working with Donald Trump as opposed to, say, President Obama?
Well, they're different characters, and that's what America voted for. I mean, I totally get that. President Trump represents a voice in America that arguably hasn't been heard, and I understand that. It's happening in every country. I mean, what's happened in the United States isn't isolated to the United States. It's happened right around the world. There are a whole group out there that feel disenfranchised. And what we've got to do is put aside any personal opinions about individual policies and say, how can we continue to help America to be great? I mean, we want America to be great. We really do. It's in our interests. There are 150,000 dead American soldiers buried in the sand between Australia and Japan, and that's an intergenerational legacy that we won't let go of.
Ambassador, I was there last night watching this celebration of the U.S.-Australia relationship, the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Coral Sea, which turned around World War II. That's an incredible history that we have together. But today, when we look at Asia, we see a strong China that Australia needs, and you see in the United States increasingly going with China, saying China's our partner, China's going to be the way we're going to solve the North Korea problem. Are you comfortable with just how much the United States is now embracing Chinese policies, Chinese approaches to dealing with these problems?
Well, I'm not sure, David, that they're embracing Chinese policies. From an Australian perspective, we have two friends, but we only have one ally, and that's the United States. I mean, if you're running a business, you'd equate it to our business partner is the United States and our biggest customer is China. Now, you can manage that. I mean, the growth of Asia is good for the United States. Every day, China creates 40,000 new businesses, and those business people have the same values as the business people in the United States. They want to succeed. They want to innovate. And the challenge we have over the next few years is, as you see, 500 million people turn into 3 billion in the middle class in Asia. How do we ensure that as the United States and Australia continue to expand exports into that region, helping them to lift their living standards? How do we do that?
Okay, we totally understand what you say about President Trump and what voices in this country brought him to power. When you said earlier that the president has very strong values, and were you talking about Australia? Who were you talking about?
Your president.
Okay,
Your president.
What are those values?
I think he does believe in freedom. I think he does believe in liberty. He does believe in democracy. And you know, how do I see it? Well, I went out to the Midwest and saw those people who were voting for him during the election. I formed the view and advised my Prime Minister in March last year, that I thought that Donald Trump could win the election.
Well, no, we're there with you.
Yeah.
We were the first to say that.
Yeah.
We understand the voices in this country.
Yeah.
that propelled him to power. But what values does he represent? What values do you know he holds in his heart that show patriotism and a sense of understanding of what a democracy is, as opposed to a dictatorship? I'm curious.
Well,
not the people in America speaking,
I get it.
Trump.
Well, I'll give you an example. North Korea. North Korea is on the threshold of having an intercontinental ballistic missile with a nuclear warhead that can take out not only the United States, but Australia as well. He is standing up to North Korea. That is hugely important. The days of saying, look, enough is enough, you know, we'll continue to put gentle pressure on China, they're over. And from our perspective, it is hugely important that the United States be strong in the Asian region. But also, we have the third biggest military presence in Iraq. We are there right now. We've trained 27,000 Iraqi soldiers and policemen. We've done that now. And so we are there, and when the president says, right, we're going to take out those bad guys in Syria that dropped chemical weapons on children, we say amen. Because you know what? We're at risk as well of those people getting such influence in the world that they can dispose chemical weapons on top of our soldiers in Iraq. And they're the values that do matter to us.
Ambassador Joe Hockey, thank you very much for sharing your perspective with us.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.